I heard that the deadline for TikTok is coming up. Let's get into it. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Now, elsewhere, the US and China have agreed on plans for a deal for the ownership of of TikTok's American operation. The US Treasury Secretary said a framework agreement had been reached as follows trade talks between both countries in Madrid. Well, the Chinese social media app was facing a ban in the US unless it could find a buyer for its operations in the country. Well, the agreement is set to be finalised in a phone call between President Trump and President Xi on Friday. Our North America business correspondent Michelle Fleury has the latest now from New York.
This is where dance videos and geopolitics collide. Now, speaking after the latest round of US-China trade talks in Madrid, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are expected to finalise a deal over TikTok when they speak together on Friday. Details of the agreement, well, they remain limited. Mr. Bessent wouldn't say who the US buyer might be for the Chinese-owned app that now boasts over 170 million American users.
Big Boy says TikTok is destroying the youth of America. The True Star said it should have been banned. TikTok issue was about control over the platform. Do y'all think TikTok should be banned? Do y'all think that TikTok should be banned? I actually have grown to like the platform because it is the #1 platform where people like to tell on themselves so that they can get fired. I actually like the platform. I actually am starting to like TikTok is a gold mine for all of the videos that y'all send me is on TikTok and Facebook, and I don't even log into Facebook anymore, so I don't look at any Facebook videos that y'all send me. But TikTok is the #1 way to get fired from your job. If ever I want to see if a liberal is getting fired from their job because of something egregious that they say, all you got to do is look at what it is that they said on their TikTok. And then they're going to come back and tell you why they got fired, and then they're going to go off on their boss. I love it. I love it. It is awesome. For whatever reason, people feel it's the #1 big and app in the United States of America. You can't open up TikTok without a woman saying, "Oh my God, the system is so against us. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been paying my student loans over the last 5 years, and it's actually higher than it was when I first acquired the student loans. The interest is killing me." But if I could just get $1 from all of my followers, I'll be able to fix this problem. The #1 begging app in the United States of America is TikTok. Listen, guys, I'm living in my car. I don't usually do this. Cash App is in my bio. Women be begging and begging and begging and begging. Or if they laugh, they sitting up in front of it. They always got some skimpy shirt on with their areola poking out of it. And, they got some skimpy boy shorts on or something like that. And they either pretending like they cooking or they sitting acting like they didn't know that they put the outfit on. And then you see a bunch of guys in the chat. "What's up, queen? Oh, I'd love to have you over. I'd clean and mop your bath water, baby girl." And I'd just be like, oh, look at these simps. Look at these simps. Sending 60-cent roses to her. Look at these simps. All of them are trying to get some box from a chick that they don't know not of. And they're going to be sending her inbox messages, and she don't care nothing about you. Hey, guys. Trying to figure out what I'm going to make to eat today. Look at these suckers. I've never seen weaker men in my entire life than guys that be publicly in the chicks' comments simping out for them. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. Unreal. Unreal. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You should truly be ashamed of yourself for simping to where you sending money to chicks that you never met in your entire life. What do you think is gonna happen? You think she's gonna look at your thing and be like, "Oh my God, I want to contact you"? She don't. She don't care nothing about you. She forgot about you. She don't know your screen name, and you dusty, and she think you dusty. Sent your whole paycheck to a chick because she was wearing boy shorts on the internet.
Only that a breakthrough
It's the greatest app ever.
had been made.
The framework is for it to switch to U.S.-controlled ownership. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of the leaders' call on Friday. We have a framework. They'll have to confirm the deal.
Congress, backed by a Supreme Court ruling, set a January deadline requiring ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, to sell the platform or face a nationwide ban. Now, Donald Trump has extended that deadline 3 times, and another extension is expected by Wednesday, or Americans could lose access to the video sharing app. Since the saga began, well, Microsoft has expressed interest in acquiring TikTok, but that fell apart. Walmart and Oracle also came close to buying the video sharing platform's US arm. If a deal does go ahead, it will bring an end to this long-running saga, but many national security experts remain skeptical.
What they be saying to you, Sabrina, in your DMs? What they be saying to you?
They question whether any deal at this point would truly address the core concerns that prompted congressional intervention in the first place.
Michelle Fleury there in New York. Some other.
Let me pivot real quick. Let me see if I can get it from a different perspective. Give me a second. Let me see something real quick.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, I want to get back to TikTok. That seems to be the hot topic right now, right? If there is a deal, divestment, and there are a couple of U.S. groups that are in the running for that, the terms of the deal, I'm curious, what do you think we should be expecting? And you've been in the thick of this stuff as a former Commerce Secretary, right? Secretary Bessent would not say whether ByteDance would transfer control of the app's underlying technology to whoever ends up buying it in the U.S. The Chinese side is saying, look, yeah, you know, I could probably see a case for maybe licensing intellectual property, including their algorithms. Do you see that as a possibility at all, that a U.S. buyer would end up either buying the technology over or paying to license its use? This would be Chinese technology and a Chinese algorithm.
Yeah, and that's the big issue, the algorithm. So it could be that this 20% that China would retain, and if the U.S. can come in and also be an investor, that could be a balance to ensure that the U.S. government is watching out to see what's going on, to be able to put some guardrails on. The other option is that the algorithm stays with China, and that U.S. investors have to develop their own algorithm. That could take longer. That could be a problem in the deal, but the algorithm will be the key issue. And the question is whether this 20% that China would retain, whether that is a way of making investors feel comfortable that China retains the algorithm because they're part investor, they have a commitment to the other investors, and if the U.S. comes in, then that could be what clinches the deal.
I think that is going to be a deal sooner rather than later. If you've heard Trump talk about TikTok, Trump likes TikTok. Trump likes TikTok. He actually likes it because he feels as though it helped him win the election, and he had a lot of motion and movement on TikTok, which I agree. He leveraged social media. He leveraged content creators. He leveraged a lot of platforms to his benefit, and I think that he actually did a really good job. But Trump really loves TikTok, and so I think that a deal is going to be done soon. So don't worry, y'all ain't got to keep complaining and worrying about it. Oh my God, TikTok is going away. No, he saved y'all the first time, and then y'all cursed him for it, and he gave y'all freedom of speech, and y'all cursed him for that also.
Mr. Secretary, hi, this is Christine. As a follow-up to that, I have 2 questions. Do you see any implementation challenges if the deal was to go through with what you said? And also, does this deal somehow set a precedence for the U.S. and how they will treat other foreign-owned tech firms, especially Chinese ones, going forward?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yes, this is not going to be an easy implementation. There's a lot of concern in the U.S. A lot of people want TikTok to stay, but there's a lot of political backlash. A lot of people do not. And there's a lot of nervousness about anything having to do with Chinese technology and Chinese algorithms. So it won't be an easy implementation. Most likely the Congress will be involved. They will definitely be involved if the U.S. wants to take some kind of a stake. But, the big opportunity here is, will the U.S. be willing, and China as well, to open up the option of Chinese foreign investment in the U.S., which, as you know, has
What China really wants is not even necessarily TikTok. I don't think that they care as much about that. I think that what they really want is they want to get a negotiation and possibly try to sell Chinese cars here in the United States of America. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. What China really wants is the ability to sell cars in the United States of America. They want to somehow solve for the tariffs that's being implemented upon them, and also the tariffs that's being implemented upon them in Canada, and the tariffs that's being thrown on them in Mexico. Canada is tariffing China. Mexico is tariffing China. They're also tariffing the products that is being sold into the United States from Mexico, from China, from the capital investment that they're making in China. I recently looked at Claudia Sheinbaum, who is the president of Mexico, and she recently raised the tariffs on China from 25 to 50% on their cars and their technology. Let me see. Yeah, they want to be able to sell them electric cars here. Mexico tariffs on China. I was just looking at a video about it. Yep, Reuters did a video about it, about how Mexico is raising tariffs on China from 25% to 50%. Yep. And so China's pissed on that because it's really the battle is between the United States and China, right? Or the United States. The battle is between United States and China from Mexico's perspective. Mexico is being forced to pick a side. They choose the United States of America over China for obvious reasons, but that is the reason why they're rocking out with them.
Mexico plans to raise tariffs on automobiles from China and other Asian countries to 50%. It's a broad overhaul of import levies the government said would protect jobs. Analysts also argue it's aimed at placating the United States. Tariffs on Chinese cars entering Mexico are currently at 20%. On Wednesday, Economy Minister Marcelo Ebrard told reporters the raise was intended to protect jobs in Mexico, as Chinese cars were entering the local market below what he called reference prices. Authorities also
So basically what China is trying to do, and which Americans, especially the liberals, are so stupid, is China is coming in because Build Your Dreams, BYD, is basically subsidized by the Chinese government. Meaning that it's not true capitalism. It is a form of socialism and communism, but it's there in order to benefit the Chinese market. And in order to do that, they need more market share. In order to get more market share, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to make it cheaper than other vehicles, even if they have to sell it at a loss, even if it's a loss leader. They are going to bring their vehicles over there, and then they want to bring them over here in the United States of America to cannibalize the auto market by pushing cheaper cars over here in the United States of America and subsidizing those cheaper cars with cheap labor, not actually building the cars here in the United States of America and skirting the tax laws that we have. And so that is one of the things that they've been doing in every other market along the outside of the United States of America. They trying to ship their cars over to Mexico. They're trying to ship their cars over to Europe. They're trying to ship their cars over to Indonesia. They're basically trying to subsidize electric vehicles and push them over here so that they can push out all of the other automakers here in the United States of America. And that would be absolutely horrible. It would be absolutely terrible. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus, that we actually have a president that stands up for Americans and American jobs. What if the U.S. uses that factory? they wouldn't actually be manufacturing the cars here. See, listen. What China wants to do is to try to negotiate and say, all right, well, we'll send vehicles over into your country, whether it be Mexico or whatever. And they'll say, but we're going to add so many jobs. Every single part will be manufactured over in China, shipped over here in parts, and then they wouldn't actually manufacture it over here. They would assemble it here. If you look at most products, whether you talk about your phone, and I don't care if it's an iPhone, I don't care if it's an Android, whatever, it'll usually says designed by Apple in California, but actually manufactured, all of the parts, and then also assembled in different places. And so most of these places are not manufacturing cars here. They are assembling vehicles here. And it's a big difference. Go and look at the side of the car. Go and look at the MSRP sticker that's on the car. It'll tell you this many percentage of parts is from North America. This part is from Mexico. These are from Canada. This is from outside of the United States of America, so on and so forth. They're trying to assemble cars here, not necessarily manufacture cars here.
The moves would impact $52 billion worth of imports, as sectors including steel and textiles will also face increased tariffs. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian told reporters he wanted Mexico and China to work together towards global economic recovery and trade development.
China has always advocated inclusive.
All right. I get it. So anyways, y'all get the general idea. I want to pivot over to one more thing before, well, let me read the super chats first and then I'll pivot over to it.